sanctioned by the Ohio Athletic Commission, and tonight's event dedicated to the memory of Ohio's great heavyweight contender Jimmy Bivens and Cincinnati's legendary trainer Bill Pops Miller. This first bout presented in association with Gary Shaw Promotions. At ringside, the three judges scoring will be Bob Hecko, Gary Merritt, and Tom Miller. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Ken Milliner. And now this is a special featured contest, 10 rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with yellow, official weight 147.5 pounds. His professional record, 28 victories, including 19 knockouts, only 2 defeats with 2 draws. Damas y Caballero de Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico, former WBC Continental Americas champion, Orlando Latigo Lora. And fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red with blue, officially weighing 147 pounds. As a professional, 17 victories, including 16 knockouts, with 1 no decision. From Clearwater, Florida, USA, the undefeated Keith one-time Thurman.
Laura. Thurman. Mouthpiece. Thurman. Mouthpiece. On your trunks. This is good. You got a little where you can come right here. You guys got your instructions, right? Any questions, Laura? Question them. Thurman, any questions? No, sir. Touch gloves, come out and take care of your business.
I'm joined at ringside now by Max Kellerman and Roy Jones.
Yesterday in our fighter meeting, Jim, you asked Thurman about Clearwater. You said it's famous for softball, right? Not boxing. And Thurman said, it's about to be. It's about to be famous for boxing.
I can't believe that he isn't yet nicknamed the Clearwater Bomber, given the record of 16 knockouts in 17 fights, the other a no decision. And of course, 8 knockouts to begin. Roy Jones, this should be a power puncher's festival because Laura's cachet is also as a puncher.
Yeah, both of these guys seem to campaign as big punchers for welterweights. However, Laura has not had the best of competition in front of him lately. So tonight he has somebody that does exactly what he claims to do. And if he can do, or the other guy can do it, we should be in for a wonderful night. I
mentioned that Laura's last fight was a 6-round draw against an opponent with a record of 11-7. In his previous fight, he fought a guy who had won 11 of 40 fights. So yes, he's been missing good competition recently, and Thurman is not the kind of guy you want to see when you haven't been fighting the best.
But Thurman got his attention already with a left uppercut, I think.
That was a heavy jab. I mean, Thurman has heavy hands. So often we see the big personalities are the boxers. So they can attract the following, talking a lot of smack, and then they get in the ring and they fight defensive style fights. Thurman's a big talker, big personality with a big punch to match.
Indeed, yesterday was the first time we met him, and he came in and took over the room in a fighter meeting like several fighters aren't able to do. He was stunning in his personality effectiveness. Let's see if he can follow it up with another of what has become his trademark, the knockout victory. And there was a good left hook. And Laura wants to fight back and say, I'm just as good. He's getting ripped. You let your hands go against a guy like Thurman, you might be asking for trouble. 1 minute to go in round 1.
And Laura's face is blood red already.
Laura dropped Malignaggi when they fought in the first round of their fight before Malignaggi got untracked and outboxed him the rest of the way.
Winning all of the 9 remaining rounds.
That was a pretty smart move by Keith Thurman, though. Although they're in a heated battle here, he went to the body with his right hook, which was very good.
Thurman's a puncher, but he's also athletic enough, I think, Roy, to get to positions, different positions in the ring to land those punches.
Yes, I think he's very athletic, uses his legs very well, and he's not really fluent with his punches like you like to see him because he throws so much power behind them.
Round one concludes. We mentioned how effective Thurman was as a personality in our fighting meeting yesterday. Let's take a look.
I'm young, I'm 23 years old. This is the first time that I get to perform with the cameras and to show everybody the next best thing coming up in the world of boxing. I throw hard. I throw with intentions to hurt. The chin can only take so much. Power punchers produce over the limit that the human body can take. And so as long as I land one of those punches one time, everybody's going to sleep.
You're very smart. What was your favorite subject in school?
Yeah, you got it, man.
So street smart is the answer there. And incidentally, if you're a fan, you probably noticed looking in the background that his trainer is Dan Birmingham, a former trainer of the year from Tampa, who in his career has trained fighters of every different style, including puncher Jeff Lacey, and of course, supreme boxer Winky Wright. Dan's a good trainer.
And Thurman was sparring with those guys and holding his own at the ages of 14 and 15 and 16. Roy, that's an impressive pedigree.
Yeah, that's highly impressive for a guy like Keith Thurman because he's seen some of the best already. Now, anything he sees is just average for him because he's been in with the best of fighters early in his career.
Calls himself one time, said because it only takes one punch from him, but also to remind him he can be knocked out with one punch. It only takes one. Told us a guy's, so far one guy's gone the distance with him. He plans on that being the only guy to go the distance one time.
Oh, can he anticipate with the left hook?
That one was about 2 inches high from ending matters, I believe.
Yep. As soon as you move your right hand, he's ready to throw the left hook. That was a good jab. To his credit, Thurman is showing Laura the respect that a Mexican veteran with punching credentials deserves.
Well, he's very smart. Like you said, the one time reminds him that it only takes one for him to go out too. So he doesn't underestimate anybody.
Another quick counter left hook after Laura landed a right hand. Good uppercut by Thurman, right on the button.
This is good for Thurman as a prospect, in with a guy who takes some of those big shots and keeps coming.
Exactly. He's probably faced people in the past whom that uppercut might have floored.
Whose mouthpiece just came flying out?
Laura's.
Laura's, yep.
Not stopping Laura from coming after Thurman.
Good way to get your teeth knocked out.
We also have to remember that Thurman's been out for a little while because of a hand injury.
Laura will go to his corner.
Good job by the ref waiting for a slight lull in the action.
Referee Ken Milliner from here in Ohio sees to it that Laura gets the mouthpiece back in.
Time in, box.
Uppercut again.
Good body shot.
Oh. Oohing and eyeing from the body shot. Stop! The crowd sees the bell ring to end round two.
Laura's tough.
All right. Estás llegando, pero no te estás
You're
soltando,
reaching
¿eh?
there, but you're not letting
Hay que
go.
soltarnos, está
You
llegando
gotta
a la
let go.
distancia, no
You've got
trates
your
de llegar
range.
totalmente pegadito con él, ¿ok?
You know, you can't be all the way in.
Estás llegando a la distancia
You
correcta.
got your range, it's your
Justo cuando
range.
metes 1, 2 y gancho
If you
de
gotta work
izquierda.
1, 2 in the
1,
left
2,
hook.
gancho de izquierda.
And then
¿Ok?
left hook again.
Píntalo un
All right?
poquito antes de
Fake him a
llegar.
little bit before you go in.
No te
All right?
entregues.
Don't
Lo
throw
estás
yourself
dejando
in.
mandar, por eso se está moviendo.
You're letting him
Ya
lead.
empezó a correr, ya se empezó a mover. Ahora, si le vas a dar presión,
Right here you see Keith Thurman hiding behind that left shoulder, counters the left jab with a beautiful right uppercut. It doesn't get much better than that. He hit right behind the left shoulder, came under the the jab with a beautiful right uppercut, flush on the chin. Those are the kind of shots that usually take guys out.
And Roy, he can throw that punch because he knows the left hand has already come. He can't be countered with the left hand.
That's exactly right.
Stop. CompuBox numbers in round 2. Thurman 22 out of 71. He was 17 of 40 on power shots in the first round. Lara 9 out of 72 in the second round. In case this somehow becomes material, the bout is scheduled for 10 rounds.
And that works in Lara's favor because Thurman has been out for about 15 months, I think.
And he's only gone as long as 8 rounds once in his pro career. It's the only time he's been taking the distance.
Missed all of 2011 with an injury.
Good jab by Thurman to break Lara's rhythm.
Lara really is tough. At the end of the last round, Thurman dug a real good right hand to the body. And Lara raised his hands as if to say, all right, come on, come and get my body. I can take it.
Well, we mentioned that Lara comes from Culiacan, Mexico. It's the hometown of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who was, of course, his childhood hero. Bottom line, you come out of that tradition, you come from that town, you follow in the footsteps of Chavez. You got to be tough.
It's a tough town, produces tough fighters.
That time, Thurman leading with the left hook. Boy, he looks more comfortable to me trying to land his big shots as counterpunches than to set up an attack and go in.
Yeah, that's what he does. He counters you, and he said that yesterday in the meeting. He said that he's a very good counterpuncher, which means he depends on another guy's attack to launch his own attack.
Well, lucky for him, Lara does nothing but attack.
All night long. And we can't say lucky for him yet, because if Lara ever gets to safe ground here, Thurman's only been 8 rounds once. Lara has more experience in going 8 rounds. So the longer this goes, the better this is for Lara.
Great point.
Although the guy putting in the body work is Thurman.
And Lara is getting kind of comfortable in here, which is not good for Thurman. But that was a great left body shot by Keith Thurman.
Ten seconds to go in round 3 between Keith Thurman and Orlando Lara. Lara staggered by a left hook momentarily there.
You're bringing your hands down. You're reaching them, but you're not throwing. But I'm telling you, throw, do it. Gotta come in and throwing. Then he's counter punching you and he's pushing you back. And he's catching you with one punch. And he's catching you after you throw that one punch.
Stay on that body. Keep ripping it. Keep ripping it. Come down. Stay on his ass. He ain't punching when he backs up, so stay on his ass. Quit ready. Breathe. All yours. Right. Set it back up again. Let's go. Stay on his ass when he backs up and fire.
Cincinnati, Ohio. Pretty decent crowd seeming to be on hand here. A few blocks away, the Reds are playing the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 rounds in the books between Thurman and Lara. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Look at you. 3 rounds to nothing, 30-27, Keith Thurman. I got to tell you, Orlando Lara's got some jaw. I mean, anybody would have gone out if you're getting hit, you know, with shots like Keith Thurman's landing. Be as it may, Keith Thurman landing left hooks, landing vicious right hands, stacking him at the end of round 3, but somehow or another he can't knock him down. I mean, Lara walks him down but doesn't do much offensively. It seems to be all Keith Thurman. 3-0, Thurman.
You mentioned the Cincinnati Reds, Jim. They have a reliever. They signed out of Cuba, left-hander Aroldis Chapman. Throws the ball, broke the all-time record, long string bean kid, 106 miles an hour. And that's the promise of a guy like Thurman, that you're going to see some kind of crazy power you haven't seen before. Something sensational. So far, he hasn't provided that, but he has shown real ring intelligence and good composure.
And some power.
And some good power, too.
And he'll have to continue showing all of that good ring composure tonight, because this is not an easy fight for him. This guy's constantly keeping the pressure on. The hardest thing to do is to take a pressurous guy like this and go 10 or 9 rounds with him off of a 15-month layoff.
Right, the mistake would be, let me show everyone how hard I hit.
That's exactly
because
right.
They came here to see my 106-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's exactly right. Now, he caught him the last round, which was good for Thurman, because he needed something to make Lara back up a little bit.
And now that I've trashed the competition by pointing out the inadequacies in Lara's record coming in, watching the fight, I have to confess, I'm not sure Maidana would have been a tougher opponent. Maidana doesn't move as much as Lara, and he may not be any harder a puncher, given that he has come up to 147 and all of his major punching exploits took place at 140.
My thing with that, what you're saying is, I don't think Maidana still would have been around if he would have got caught with the punches that Lara has absorbed already.
That's it in a nutshell.
Not to mention, Lara's a tall guy. I thought it was a solid job of last-minute replacement opponent, in the sense that you brought a guy in who's going to make a good fight.
He switches southpaw. Let's see how Thurman handles that.
Well, Lara did land a good straight left on Thurman when he switched southpaw, but we'll see what happens. This should open him up to either a right hand or a left hook by Keith Thurman.
Now he goes back to his conventional stance.
He didn't like that last body shot.
And in fact, if Thurman was a little less disciplined, this fight may be a better action fight and a worse kind of fight for Thurman than it is.
Still to come tonight, the main event in Cincinnati between local star Adrian Broner and his opponent tonight, Vicente Escobedo.
This is a fighter's town. From street fighting to boxing, we just love to fight. We just love to see fights. We love to see knockouts. And that's what I bring.
His mind is to come here, look good in front of his crowd. My whole mind is set on to come win that belt in his hometown. And it wouldn't make no difference if it was in Cincinnati, if it was in Las Vegas, because when that bell rings, it's just me and him.
At the end of the day, you know, I'm not too worried about him. I'm in shape, training camp went well, and whatever he brings to the table, I'll be ready for. I just feel like nobody will beat me.
Latest inheritor to the tradition of Cincinnati fighters, the most illustrious of whom was Ezzard Charles, perhaps the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Aaron Pryor was from here in Cincinnati. Tim Austin. And at least one supposedly tremendous prospect who came a cropper, Ricardo Williams. Thurman's won every round on Harold Letterman's scorecard as we arrive at the 5th.
Thurman opening this round, landing some really big shots on Lara.
We haven't really seen Thurman dig his shots yet. They've been heavy-handed. He is heavy-handed, but we haven't seen one of those full-force leverage shots that he throws.
I don't know. That right uppercut was pretty impressive.
It was pretty good.
1 or 2.
But when he connects with kind of thudding force because he is heavy-handed.
Good body shot there with the left hand by Keith Thurman. It's interesting when you see a puncher, as Laura is, trying to shorten up his punches just to land something, as he's done a couple times in the last 2 rounds.
And he's also trying to shorten them up to protect his body. He doesn't want to leave him out too long because Keith Thurman is hitting him with some very impressive body shots.
Maybe an even better reason to shorten up your punches. Landing becomes a secondary motivation at that point.
You see the schooling he got in the gym coming up, Roy, coming out in this performance?
Oh, most definitely. Because this is one of the hardest fights to fight for a fighter. Like I told you, the toughest thing to deal with is a 15 or 14-month layoff that was unplanned, and the one that you didn't expect to be off for that period of time. Then to come right back and take on a guy like Lara, who just constantly stays in your face. Very difficult to do.
I just saw Thurman dig with a couple of shots that didn't land cleanly. Lucky for Lara.
That was a terrific combination. Throws the left uppercut with authority there. The earlier one was a right uppercut.
Vicious right hook to the body.
Right hand over the top, partially blocked. That's why Lara held his hands out.
And it's hard for Keith Thurman to miss Lara at this point.
Now stamina begins to become the question, because if we make it to the bell in this round, it appears we will, then Lara in the next round, or excuse me, Thurman in the next round will be in the 6th round for only the 2nd time in his career.
Nice work. Breathe easy. Think calm. Doing a great job. Great job. Keep ripping that body. Keep the jab on his ass. Keep ripping that body. Water, Coach. I need water. When you're close enough, that hook. That hook, right hand hook. Not just one hook. Hook right hand, another good hook. Go downstairs.
He's showing you his punches. Don't wait till he's set up to throw. You gotta throw punches. Move.
Here you see Keith Thurman back with a beautiful left hook, a little bit wide, which is why it probably didn't take him out right away, but it was a very good shot, followed by a beautiful right hook to the body. That's the one thing I'm impressed with about Thurman. He continues to go to the body, even though he has a guy in front of him that's taking all of the headshots. Most big punchers refuse to punch to the body.
We mentioned he was intelligent.
Yeah, and those are the shots that I really see him putting his body into, Roy, are the body shots.
Those are the smart ones to put your body into, because those are the ones that will break Lara down so that the headshots will start to hurt.
Doesn't matter how good your chin is. Kill the body, the head will die.
Every time.
Power punches in the 5th round. CompuBox saw Thurman landing 21 of 40. Roy Jones, how important is it for the young puncher, the dominant puncher, guy who starts his career with 8 first-round knockouts, to come to that evening where he has to accept that he's going to go the distance and he must carve out a decision? I'm not saying that we're there yet, but that could be what germinates in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, that's very important, because you want to know that a guy is capable of going the full distance if he has to. To be champion, you have to be able to beat fighters of all kind, from all walks of life. And that body shot right there, by the way, just hurt Lara. He's trying to not show it right now, but it did hurt him. But anyway, like I was saying, when a guy is planning on being champion, he has to be able to deal with fighters from all walks of life. And at some point, there's gonna be a guy who can take every punch and everything you can muster up to hit him with. And tonight, that's what Lara's gonna look like, but there he goes.
Well, maybe not.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Orlando Lara has had enough. He made that clear, walking to his corner and talking to his trainer while listening to the count. He was done. Keith Thurman has a 6th round knockout victory.
Look,
beautiful knockout.
Let's not make it more than it is. We all know Lara is what he is. He's not a world beater. But I was very impressed with the composure that the young knockout artist showed, faced with a determined opponent who wasn't just going to fold the first time or the 10th time he hit him. He did fight behind the jab. He threw vicious shots to the body, which is where he really put his power, and it paid off an impressive performance.
And I'm very impressed with the discipline to continue to go to the body, although he could hit the guy to the head anytime he wanted to. To go back to the body is something that great fighters with power don't remember to do.
What about his craft? Do you see the kind of holes in his game that make it prohibitive for him to start fighting fringe contenders, better fighters in the near future? Is he ready for that?
Yeah, he's ready for that, and it's like because of being laid off so long. Well, let me show you right here. You see Lara on the attack, caught by that beautiful check hook. That beautiful check hook hurt him, and he followed it up with another straight right hand to the chin that really probably wasn't even necessary. The hook had done the damage.
Yeah, and I said fought behind the jab. It's not that he really fought behind the jab so much he threw a lot. It's that his weight never got out in front of him, Roy, where he was off balance, loading up on big shots.
He was always ready to counter with this beautiful check hook and that straight right hand with that cross right hand right there. But he stayed ready to counter. Anytime Lara came at him too hard, he threw a beautiful counter shot.
What a stare down. And when the count reached 6, Lara got up, walked to his corner, and offered his mouthpiece to the trainer.
So that's enough of this.
Let's go back to Culiacan. So Keith Thurman gets the job done. Scores the knockout for which this outing was intended for him.
You got to be impressed, though, because that's very difficult to do after a year or a 15-month layoff.
I want to see him again. That's what amounts to being impressed in this world. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the TKO.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 1 minute, 37 seconds of round number 6. The winner by knockout victory, still undefeated, 18 victories, 17 KOs. Now, the undefeated Keith, one-time Thurman.
Well, he's from Clearwater, and he's a bomber. He doesn't have that nickname yet, but it isn't softball. That's hardball. He lands 124 to only 45 for Lara. He throws only 25 punches more, but look at the connect percentage, and that may be one of the reasons Lara was done. He was just getting hit way too often by a hard puncher to stay in the fight. Power shots, and Thurman landing 44% of his power shots. On those nights when he gets that up to, say, 50, he might be very, very difficult even for top fighters to beat.
I don't know if they can hold up to 50% of him with those power shots.
That's thudding stuff. And CompuBox's, or excuse me, Punch Zone. The Punch Zone is our effect which shows you where the punches landed. And you can see that Thurman took 34 shots to the head from Orlando Lara. Only 11 body shots. Thurman landing 29 body shots, 13 with the left hand and 16 with the right hand, and they did a lot of damage to Lara, as did, of course, the 95 punches that he landed to the head. And Max Kellerman stands by with the very entertaining Keith Thurman.